piece of trash right there? Oh, this one? Yeah, that one. Oh yeah, I meant to throw this away in the trash, but I missed. Just like the Sabres do making the playoffs. I'll throw it in the trash, don't worry. I honestly do not know how to start this video. The Buffalo Sabres were finally starting to convince everyone that they could make the playoffs and end their 9-year postseason exile. Instead, the same crap happens again in a year with raised levels of optimism for the team that honestly hasn't been met. Everything I could say about this organization would cause grief for their fans, if there are any left, because the reality is a slap in the face compiled with cold water. This team is dreadful, and it is sinking into the Pegula quicksand faster than it is aware of. Somebody please save this team. The Teletubby Pegulas are like spoiled, coddled children who can't keep their damn hands off the organization and F it up as a result. The Sabres have the pieces to go far, with a young forward core sprinkled with veteran leadership and, in my opinion, one of the sexiest first-line defensive pairings in the league with the Rasmus line of Dahlin and Ristolainen. Goaltending may be questionable, but Linus Ullmark is a fine choice to get the team's feet wet. Yet here we are. The only place this team has gotten their feet wet in is not being at the bottom of the East. That is just sad. I'm not even a Sabres fan, and I can't help but feel bad for the team, and most importantly their fan base, which has probably dried up and turned into the Sahara Desert of the NHL. This seems like a more fitting description for the Arizona Coyotes, given that they play in the Valley of the Sun in the Phoenix Desert, and have been a meme for years due to their low attendance and lack of star power. But at least this last year they've made the playoffs and have gotten themselves out of the basement temporarily. On the other hand, Buffalo is not as successful. This team is the basement. This team redefines mediocrity owing to a decade of failure and underachieving. That's not even funny anymore. This is downright depressing. People may think the Red Wings are this, but the Red Wings at least have a glorified history and 11 Stanley Cups to their name. But what happened to this team that made them this way? How does a franchise with a number of elite players sink to the bottom of the league like the Titanic? Granted, they currently do play in the toughest division in the NHL, owing to the league realignment as a result of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic that has screwed everything. The East Division is an absolute bloodbath of juggernauts that include the Capitals, Bruins, and Flyers, so I guess that might be able to explain a fraction of it. Nonetheless, I think anyone who had some faith in the Sabres at the beginning of the season has been left with premium high-quality disappointment. Among some of the notable perpetrators for this result are trades that blew up in the face of the organization, sporadic, inconsistent coaching changes, and poor cap management. When it comes to trades, this team makes Garth Snow look like a competent GM, largely due to the fact that a lot of the major transactions processed through this team resulted in spontaneous self-combustion in the face for the organization. The expectations have been inconsistently barely made or have been straight up missed altogether. Let's sign this 28-year-old Ville Leino to a 6-year, $27 million contract after 1 year of top 6 production in Philadelphia. There is no way that this can backfire at all, right? Leino turns into the Buffalo Sabres' silver-plated pylon, playing in just 137 games and putting up only 46 points, which, to add salt on the scar, only consists of 10 goals. He is bought out by Buffalo. Kyle Okposo's contract in Long Island is up. Quick, throw him the money. $42 million. Perfect. This can't go wrong. Okposo starts out relatively well in Buffalo, and then an ICU visit and the injury gods begin a torrid love affair and his production declines. I'm not even blaming Okposo here. I'm just lamenting about this god-awful luck he's experienced. We need some defense, so let's trade hot forward prospect Alex Nylander to the Blackhawks for Henry Jokiharju because he's a year younger. We have won! Jokiharju's performance is all but noticeable on the ice, while Alex Nylander has become a consistent staple in Chicago's top 6. Jokiharju is a mess spelled with uppercase letters, but we must move forward and upgrade the defense. Colin Miller has career seasons in Vegas, and for his cap at just under $4 million a year, it seems like a good price. Let us tip the Vegas Golden Knights with some future draft picks. Colin Miller is nowhere near the player that he was in Vegas, putting up some of the lowest point totals of his career in the 2019-2020 season. In 51 games, he has just 1 goal and 11 points. To put this into context, with the Vegas Golden Knights, he had 10 goals and 41 points in a full 82 games played in 2017-2018, followed up with a year that wasn't as productive but witnessed him producing 3 goals and 29 points in 65 games. Ryan O'Reilly is good, but we don't see him being consistent for the future. Quick, trade him! St. Louis is willing to pay a bulk price for him? Perfect! We just dodged a bullet and fleeced them, boys. Here is some background information on this particular trade. Ryan O'Reilly came off of a 61-point season with Buffalo during the 2017-2018 season and ranked second on team scoring behind Jack Eichel. But in spite of his personal success, the Sabres finished last overall in not only the Atlantic Division, but the entire league. He said that he was feeling frustrated with the team as a result of the losing culture and that he was beginning to lose his love for the game. This caused some Buffalo fans to label him a cancer on the team, while others saying that this is a wake-up call for the organization. This organization manages to screw one of the team's top scorers and send him to the Blues for a bulk goods package that includes Tage Thompson, Vladimir Sobotka, Patrick Berglund, a first-round pick in 2019, and a second-round pick in 2021. Ryan O'Reilly notches a career-high 77 points and becomes the Blues' leading scorer that season as they win their first ever Stanley Cup. To add lemon juice to the salt on the open wound, he leads the team in scoring in the playoffs also and wins the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player in the postseason. As for the return that Buffalo got for him, Tage Thompson has spent half of his time in the minors, Sobotka yeeted himself out of North America to Switzerland, Patrick Berglund puts up 4 points in 23 games before leaving for the Swedish Hockey League. The 2019 first-round pick Buffalo's received turned out to be 31st overall, and the 2021 draft pick is in the second round. If that wasn't enough agony, the Buffalo Sabres have gone through 5 head coaches in the last 7 years. Their current head coach, Ralph Krueger, is public enemy number 1 to the Buffalo fan base right now, and it is likely that he will be given the axe too, not just from the front office, but from the fans, as his head is inevitably waiting to be chopped off and buried deep below relevance, just like the franchise. Ralph Krueger may be an absolutely terrible head coach, but the truth is, no level of coaching can magically turn this franchise around alone. You could even throw Scotty Bowman in the flux capacitor and take 40 years off of his age, and still, this team would be an absolute dumpster fire. The Sabres are one of the worst teams in the league, yet their cap situation is tight. Jack Eichel makes $10 million a year, but he is one of the league's elite forwards on the NHL's biggest gong show, so this is not as big of a dilemma. Taylor Hall is making $8 million and he is not scoring for his money's worth, but that is because he's on the Sabres, and his contract ends this year and he becomes a UFA. Okposo, $6 million a year until 2023, but he has had some of the worst luck of his career, including that damned ICU visit. Yes, it was almost 4 years ago, but he has not rebounded to his New York Islander form. All of these are affecting the team noticeably, but that is far from the worst. The granddaddy of terrible contracts on this team is Jeff Skinner, signed at a whopping $72 million contract over 8 years that runs until 2027. A franchise player for the Carolina Hurricanes had a career year for his first season in Buffalo, reaching the 40-goal mark for the first time in his career, and then fell off a cliff harder than an 18-wheeler off of Cape Breton in Nova Scotia. Scratched multiple times, production that has dropped faster than King Daka, and being benched for whatever reason by Ralph Krueger, Skinner has struggled to find the form he had in Carolina in his first year with the Sabres. However, this may not necessarily be his fault entirely. The aforementioned Freddy Krueger of the NHL has tried experimenting with the lines in the hope that the team gels together better. The result? This team has done anything but gel and come together, and is currently crumbling like a dollar store biscotti cookie, which is roughly equivalent to the starting price of admission to Sabres games. Krueger, for whatever reason, is not playing Skinner, a left wing, with Jack Eichel, a center. During his 40-goal season with Buffalo, many people believed Skinner to be the wingman for Eichel that the Sabres needed, and combining those two with 2014 draft second overall pick Sam Reinhart made for a dominant first line that led to a record-tying 10-win streak in 2018-2019 for the franchise. Now, Eichel is frustrated, with rumors circulating through the league that he is demanding a trade, which I honestly don't blame him for. And Jeff Skinner is nowhere near what the Sabres expected him to be when he signed the deadweight contract. As I currently speak right now, the Buffalo Sabres have finally fired Ralph Krueger's Swiss cheese ass out of the cannon that was loaned to them by the Columbus Blue Jackets following the Sabres losing their 12th straight game. If you thought that this was rock bottom, then you're mistaken. There is no rock bottom here. This team epitomizes every single aspect of rock bottom there is in existence.
Starting today, the Buffalo Sabres' reason for existence will be to win a Stanley Cup.